Another day, another Hidden Gems video, this time for the Nintendo Wii. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Conduit is a first-person shooter where you play as Agent Michael Ford, who becomes part of this organization called the Trust, and they're trying to stop an alien invasion that's going on in Washington, D.C. So basically it's your job, and you got to save the world, you got to fight these aliens who are known as the Drudge, and find out if this organization called the Trust can actually be trusted. A layup joke, had to do it. Sorry, not sorry. In terms of first-person shooters on the Wii, this is actually a pretty solid option. Not that the Wii had a lot of first-person shooters to pick from, but that's besides the point. This was actually pretty good, man. It doesn't do anything exceptionally well, but I think it's pretty solid across the board. The aiming with the Wiimote feels pretty decent, not too hard to get a handle of. You get a nice variety of weapons, from pistols to assault rifles. You got guns that shoot these little electrical pulses. And of course, we're fighting aliens who have their own kind of technology and guns, and we get to use their guns too. And you get this really cool little circular ball thingy called an ASE, and you use the ASE to scan the environment to help you find secrets. So you'll actually want to explore areas because the ASE can show like hidden pathways where you can get like cool weapons and, you know, just other things that you might not normally find in the regular areas. Really my main critique of the Conduit is I wish the ASE was just used more. It seemed like a really cool gadget, and I felt like it should have did a little bit more, but it was, I don't know, I wanted more from this gadget. It was really cool when you got to use it, but I wish it just could have did more stuff. But not much to say about the Conduit, man. This is a pretty straightforward first-person shooter. You know, got some cool, sci-fi elements to it. We got some decent stage design going on here, decent story. No solid boss fight. Some areas are a little difficult, but you'll have a good time, man. It's really solid with the gameplay. And, you know, some people might look at this and say this is like a diet version of Halo. And, I mean, you ain't entirely wrong, but I still think this is pretty good. If you can catch this for cheap, I think it's worth a pickup. And there actually is a part 2 of this, the Conduit 2, which I have not played yet, but from what I've seen, it looks like an improvement on this one. So I would say pick up both of those. If you see any of those while you're out in the wild, give them a pickup, man. I think you'll have yourself a good time. You know what you need in life sometimes? Sometimes you just need a good old-fashioned beat-em-up, and that's exactly what Batman the Brave and the Bold is. Batman the Brave and the Bold is a really straightforward beat-em-up that is based off the cartoon of the same name, and this joint is just fun, man. It's just good old-fashioned simple fun. You can play as Batman as well as other DC characters that you will be familiar with, people like Robin, Blue Beetle, Hawkman is in the building. They also have assist characters who do these special attacks that can basically clear out the entire screen. So with the assist characters, you'll get to see people like Black Lightning, Booster Gold, Captain Marvel, Plastic Man. I don't know what Plastic Man's doing here, but shout out to Plastic Man. So everybody from the well-known to the obscure of Disney. I said Disney. Sorry, of DC. They're in here. They're in here somewhere. The game plays out through episodes, and with each episode, you'll slowly get introduced to all of the other playable characters and villains. The animations are solid. The dialogue is cheesy in the best kind of way. Love the voice acting. Yeah, man, it's just a fun and simple beat 'em up. Sure, it can get a little repetitive. They try to do some stuff to break up the repetitiveness. You do get some weapons in here, but Batman has like a sword in this game, which is kind of wild. But yeah, man, it's cool, man. I like the different characters. They mix things up just enough to keep it from getting a little too repetitive, but the game is short, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's just the perfect kind of game to play when you just want to have fun for a little bit. Maybe you're in between games and you just need something to hold your attention for a little bit. Pick this up, play it for a few minutes, maybe do a stage or two and put it back down. But physical copies of Batman the Brave and the Bold can still be found for pretty decent prices, so if you see this while you're out and about, I think this is worth a pickup, especially if you like beat 'em ups or if you're just a fan of the source material. So definitely give this a try if you can come across it. Lost in Shadow is a puzzle platformer, and it kicks off with you at the top of this really just colossal sized tower, and this guy, I don't know his name, but he just walks up to you and he smacks you so hard that your shadow leaves your body and it falls all the way to the bottom of the tower. Now you got to climb all the way back up in hopes to get your body back. Now, just a disclaimer, I haven't finished this game, so that's all I know about the story so far, but I am enjoying Lost in Shadow so far. I think the puzzle aspect of the game is pretty creative. You play primarily in the background, literally maneuvering through the shadows. You know, you're jumping, avoiding traps, you're solving puzzles. You're collecting these little memories that kind of somehow help you, piece together the bits of the story, and you're just making your way and progressing through each stage or each floor of the tower, I should say. You get to interact with objects. You can kind of move them and manipulate them so that you can create shadows, so that you can climb up on them and traverse so that you can make it to the next area. And they also have like these cool little portal worlds where you kind of have to like rotate the camera and it shifts the room, and you kind of have to shift the room in a way that's going to help you, kind of get to the next platform or the next area that you need to get to. As far as the puzzle platforming aspect of Lost in Shadow and like the stage layout, I think it's pretty good. It does a pretty good job at what it's trying to do. The only thing in this game that to me is irritating, unfortunately, is the combat. The combat is, I don't know, kind of meh. The game is at its best when you're just, solving puzzles and doing the platforming, but the combat for me is a little bit basic. You get like a little rinky-dink sword, get a little combos, really basic combo. Different kind of enemies are kind of cool, but you can't collect these little orbs. I can't really remember what they're called, but get enough of these, you can upgrade and get stronger. But I don't know, man. The combat's just kind of lifeless. It's just kind of there, but but with that said, the combat hasn't completely ruined my enjoyment of the game. I just have to take the combat for what it is. Even if I do find it to be kind of a drag, but even still, I do really enjoy the puzzle platforming aspect of the game, which I feel like is the most important part, and I think Lost in Shadow got that right. As a bonus, I will say, if you enjoy anything you see about this game, and you own a Switch, check out Shady Part of Me, which is a game that I recommended in one of my Hidden Gem videos. Kind of a similar concept to Lost in Shadow, but doesn't have any of the combat, just pure puzzle platforming with a really gorgeous art style. But yeah, Lost in Shadow, still a cool game. Enjoying it despite its flaws. Check it out if you get the chance. Now, this game is for all my folks who love arcade-style rail shooters. This is Sin and Punishment Star Successor. This is a really dope rail shooter, but man, let me warn you ahead of time. This game hard, bruh. This game can be downright brutal, but if you're willing to meet the challenge, if you can get them skills up, if you can get good, you're gonna have a great time with this, man. You get two different characters, Issa and Kachi, I believe are their names. They actually do play slightly different, so I thought that was cool. You get to fly around, you get to shoot using the Wii mode, of course, to aim. So you'll be shooting everything you possibly can, dodging for dear life. You do get some melee attacks you can use also. I really love how the game just keeps things fresh and keeps things fresh with the stage environments. The camera's always moving, doing some kind of crazy pan. I like the transition between different areas. You get a lot of different kind of enemy types, and there's always something happening on the screen. Whether you're flying in the air, if you're running on the ground, if you're operating a vehicle, you will be in a constant state of motion. Like, just hectic is the norm in this game. And the boss fights, which there are plenty of, demand precision, demand that you're just good, because these bosses are not playing any games. It's real out here. It is real out here. You will die a lot if you are not on your P's and Q's while you're playing this game. Sin and Punishment Star Successor, really, like I said, it just demands precise aiming, ability just to read patterns, dodge accordingly. Sometimes you're just gonna have to improvise, because there's gonna be 1,000 things happening on the screen at once, and you're gonna have to figure it out, bro. It's gonna have to just shoot, pray, do whatever you need to. You got to figure it out, man. But you're gonna have a good time though. Depending on your skill level, you can probably finish this in about 6 to 7 hours, and there's always an incentive to go back, try to beat your high score. But yeah, man, when it comes to rail shooters, it doesn't get much better than this, man. This is a lot of fun. If you enjoy this style of game, if you enjoy this genre, Sin and Punishment Star Successor is a must play. The last story is an action RPG, and I'm actually playing through this for the first time currently. I'm actually around, I think, chapter 23, so I have not finished this game yet, but I've definitely played more than enough of it to feel comfortable recommending it, because I'm having a blast, enjoying this way more than I thought I would. In the last story, you play as Zale, and he's got a crew of mercenaries that he rolls with, and on his adventures, After some events that happen, he is given this mysterious power called the Mark of the Outsider. And then Zale and his homies, the mercenaries, end up on this island called Lazarus, where he meets Callista, who he is clearly in love with. Boy, this man, he love him some Callista, boy. That man is in love. But there's a war that breaks out on Lazarus Island. You end up fighting these beast creatures known as the Gurok, who apparently have not been around for a long time. So they came back. They wreck shop. There's a lot going on with the story. Not a full review, so I'm not going to get all into it, but so far I'm definitely enjoying it. The combat in the last story plays out in real time. They give Zale a lot to work with in terms of combat. While you're out fighting, you can have up to 6 party members with you at a time. You know, you and mostly your mercenaries, some other people you'll run into, but in addition to controlling Zale, you can give your party members commands, so you can have them do certain moves and attacks and magical abilities that have various, you know, type of effects. So they can help you out while you're out on the battlefield. And what I think is really dope in this game is when the characters do certain moves, they cast like these little magical circles. And if you do your special move, which I think it's called like a Gale Strike, Gale something, I can't remember what it's called. But if you do that move within the magical circle, it grants like additional effects. So anything from maybe giving you some extra health or elemental damage, or, you know, various other things they have in the game. What stands out to me, or what has been standing out to me most about the last story, is how different each fight is, especially the boss fights. I really like how in each boss fight they're making you utilize like different strategies, because it keeps the combat fresh and you can't approach every fight the exact same way. And of course, since it is an RPG, got some stuff to do with upgrades. You can upgrade your weapons, you know, make yourself stronger. You can change your outfits around. So you got, you know, things you can kind of customize, you know, how you look, get your fit looking the way you want it to look. If you want to just stick to the main story, you can do that. But if you explore the town area, the main hub that you're at, you'll find other people to talk to, which can grant you optional side missions and additional chapters, which can lead to you finding other rare items and fighting some very interesting boss fights if you choose to go that route. My main critique really of the last story has been a lack of a quest log. Like, this game came out in, I think, 2011. It has some 2011 tendencies. Like, there's no quest log, and it sucks because there's so many different side missions and things that you can do, but if you don't keep track of it yourself, you might just forget to go back to talk to somebody that you were supposed to talk to. But I think in terms of everything else, man, I think they really nailed it. So far, the story has been really good. The characters have different personalities, so it keeps things, you know, fresh with the story. The combat is interesting, and I'm not saying this is a perfect game, but I think in the areas that mattered most, I think they really nailed it, man. I would love to see this get remastered with some modern touches, because I think this is a really good action RPG, and I think just with a few tweaks, this could be an amazing game. But even as it stands, I think it's still pretty good. If you like RPGs or action RPGs and you have not played the last story yet, I think you should give this a try. Now, this game right here, man, this is easily one of my favorite games on the Wii, and that game is Red Steel 2. Now, if you've never played the first Red Steel, don't worry. You don't need to. Red Steel 2 is a standalone sequel with its own unrelated story, and honestly, you probably should just skip the first Red Steel anyway. It's not really that good. But anywho, in Red Steel 2, you will get to see the worlds of samurai and Western collide. They do a nice little fusion dance and combine to make this really cool, just kind of first-person shooter meets hack and slash kind of game. Story's pretty much, I would say, kind of like a revenge tale. We got some clans that are beefing with each other. One clan pretty much almost got wiped off the map, and you're kind of like the last person left. Shout out to the Kusagari. That's going to be you in the game. But with Red Steel 2, man, you're going to be learning a lot of techniques, pulling off a lot of cool moves with the use of the Wii Motion Plus, and I think this is one of the best uses of the Wii Motion Plus I've seen on the system. With some of these moves, you're going to have to get really good at learning these techniques and special Kusagari techniques, as they're called, because certain enemy types can only be hurt if you use, you know, certain techniques. For example, there are enemies that are armored, and in order for you to even put a dent in the armor, you need to do like a wide swing, which is one of the more powerful hits. Or there are, you know, certain Kusagari techniques that kind of specialize in breaking armor. So you're gonna be learning a lot of offensive and defensive moves. The combat is fast paced, And once you kind of get a hold and a feel of the controls and kind of what the game wants you to do and how to pull off all these certain moves, you're gonna be having a blast switching from the sword to the gun, shooting folks, cutting folks, pulling off all kinds of cool moves. There's a little bit of exploration going on. The stages in Red Steel 2 aren't terribly big, but you get to walk around a little bit. You'll be exploring, finding currency so that you can purchase, upgrades and weapons. You can find ammo while you're out and about, or you may just need to explore so that you can, go complete an objective that you need to do on your mission list. And you'll also get to engage in some pretty fun boss fights, some nice little one-on-one duels that are really going to test your skill and your reflexes. And man, just Red Steel 2 to me just did a really good job of taking that idea and concept of the first game, but this time they actually executed it. This is just really good quality arcade style first person action. And I think the art style also, on a side note, the art style for this I think has held up pretty well over the years if you consider when this came out. But you might be able to find copies of this, I still feel like, relatively cheap. So if you see Red Steel 2 while you're out and about anywhere, whether that be online or in person, go ahead and pick this up. I would highly, highly recommend it. Now listen, the hidden gem videos don't stop here. If you like this kind of content, I got hidden gem videos for the Switch. I've got hidden gem videos for the Wii U. I've even got one for the PS3. So if you want to look at some more, slightly obscure games that you may have missed out on, check the links below in the description. I'll drop some for you so that you can go give those a look. But thank y'all for checking out today's video. My name is Serial Sensei. Y'all stay safe, y'all stay hydrated, and I will catch you on the next video.